Welcome to the World Chess Championship 2014. Magnus Carlsen, defending world champion from Norway, rated 2863, highest rating ever in the history of chess. Looking to defend his title. Magnus won it last year from former world champion Vishy Anand, seen here, ex-world champion from India. Vishy's looking for revenge. It's going to be a great match. Stay tuned for the games. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Round 10 of the World Chess Championship 2014 from Sochi, Russia. White is former world champion Vishy Anand from India. And is black Magnus Carlsen from Norway, current world champion. This is a hell of a game. It really is. These guys were... the level that they play is way above us. And I mean 99.99% of the people that watch these chess videos or even play chess. Some kind of theoretical duel. And I'll tell you the truth, I think Vishy got the upper hand for a while. We're going to have to see how this game works out. Anyway, Anand is white, Carlsen's black. It's going to be a Grunfeld Russian system. For the first couple of moves here. Bishop, Queen B3. Interesting little tidbit at the end of the press conference, at the end of this video. One of the reporters asked Vishy Anand about, doing yoga to help with your mind, and your body and help you play chess. And she asked Magnus a question about yoga, and it's really funny at the end. And as the press conference was breaking up, if you listen to Vishy, what he asked him, I won't spoil it for you because it's kind of comical. D takes, Queen takes, castles, E4. Now, those of you that don't know, prior to this game, through round 9, Vishy is down 1 game. Magnus has got a 1-game lead on him. And there's 12 scheduled games in the match. And that's the game Vishy should have won. So it could have been very well reversed. I'll tell you the truth, I think in the last few games, Vishy's actually outplayed Magnus. But not enough, didn't outplay him enough to win. Knight A6, Bishop E2, C5, and Vishy decides to push. You see that a lot in Grunfeld, where white will get a passed isolated d-pawn. E6, castles, E takes, rook E8. Computer off screen's got about a half a pawn advantage for white. We'll call it even. Depending how this is played, that passed d-pawn for white can be very, very dangerous. Bishop G5. Nice move by Vishy. Computer also like rook D1. Then after bishop D6, queen D7. Now you really don't want to do that. You don't want to use your queen as a blockading piece. Way too important, way too powerful. After bishop G5, that's an incredibly annoying pin. Right here. Very annoying. H6. Computer likes bishop takes and bishop E3. Now bishop E3 is the #1 move. And of course that's what Vishy Anand did. They're all still in theory here. I mean, they've all seen this position on their board when they're doing their preparation a lot of times. So these guys all know this. Sometimes they take a lot of time, though. It doesn't look like when they're playing that they know what they're doing. Well, they're just double and triple checking. This is so important. You can't make a mistake, especially in a World Championship match. Bishop F5. Rook A D1. For those of you who are wondering if Bishop had taken C5, Rook C8, Knight D4, Knight takes, Pawn takes. And that's the end of that story. White is doomed. Those 3 pawns aren't so free. Knight E4. Computer likes D6, Queen to B3, Knight takes C4. They're all pretty close. Knight takes C4, Bishop takes C4. If he had taken with a rook instead, Queen C1, Knight B4, D6. But a small advantage for white. After Bishop takes, this is a move maybe Vishy had to make it. It's a practical move. queen to c1. That does a lot of things. It guards this pawn. And it also has the bishop-queen combo hitting the h-pawn. I like it, but I don't know if there was anything better. The computer likes d6, and that was a question during the press conference about this move here. But Vichy decided on queen to c1. Queen to f6, again. A free pawn? Well, let's see. Bishop takes, queen b6, rook takes, queen takes, bishop takes. White's up a piece. After queen to f6, bishop takes, queen takes the pawn. What do you do here? I mean, do you trade queens? This basically says I want to draw, I think is my opinion. Bishop takes, knight g5. Now, computer doesn't have it as one of the top 3 moves. Now it's creeping up in score. Magnus said he saw this move, but I guess he underestimated its potential. After knight to g5, he's having a hard time here. Now, the computer, of course, shows white only up a half a pawn, but see, that's the thing. Computers have absolutely no emotions at all. They're just hard calculators, and they defend beautifully. They find just the right off move, but these are human beings here. And Magnus felt a little pressure. When he checked this move out and thought about it, it wasn't such an easy way to respond to it. He took the second guess on the computer, bishop to d4. The bishop f5 was the computer's choice. We went bishop d4. Now, I like that a lot for black. It cuts off this pawn. There's no pawns on either side to harass the bishop. And this dark square bishop's out of play for a while, so that bishop's in a really good spot. Knight takes, rook takes, bishop f3, very natural move. Forcing the rook to move and protecting the pawn on d5. What to do? What to do? Vichy just pushed on. d6. Rook d7. That's about the only move he can make. Bishop f4, of course, guarding the pawn. Knight to b4. Now here's where I think, I'm not sure if this is an error or not. It's not a big problem in score. a3 is a computer suggestion. Vichy went rook d2. And after rook e8, it's pretty much, it's still half a point advantage almost for white, but the problem is it's an advantage, but what are you going to do with it? Rook to c1. Rook e6, h3, g3, a3, h4. Vichy decides h4. Bishop e5, basically forcing the trade. Takes, takes. Bishop takes. Rook takes. Pawn. Knight c6. This is a way of getting his piece back. Queen. Knight takes. Rook takes. You can see what's coming here. Rook g7 and rook d2. And that's where Anand decided to draw it. Carlsen agreed. So round 10 of the World Chess Championship 2014. I hope I didn't go through that too fast because this is kind of a complicated position, but it's kind of late at night here and I want to get this in before I go to sleep because I want to see the opening of the Hunger Games today. Mockingjay Part 1. Great movie if you ever get a chance to see it. Anyway, folks, as I always say, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Okay, please take your seats. We are ready to start the press conference. Please. Okay. So the 10th game of the World Championship match finished in a draw. And can you please tell what happened in this game?
Well, in the Grunfeld today, Russian variation, if you And well, we got to this position. Queen f6 with the idea of obviously some counterplay on b2. I took. Here again there were many choices. I wanted to go bishop g7, queen c1, rook c1, king g7. The rook takes c5. And Magnus mentioned that he was going to play this, which he thought solved everything, which is probably about right. I mean, it seemed inadequate to me. I took, then I went knight g5. Well, there were many tempting continuations. I mean, d6, bishop b5, all sorts of variants of that, but I couldn't find anything that I missed.
Was it important to change queens at this point, or could you keep them on the board? Maybe playing something instead of queen c1, d6 immediately.
It's possible, but obviously black will also have resources then against that pawn. I mean, d6, something else. I mean, this will have to be checked.
And later on, what happened?
Bishop d4 was very precise. After that, well, perhaps rook fe1 was slightly better than rook d2.
Why did you refuse to play rook e1?
I also just thought knight c6. I wasn't getting anywhere, but after rook d2, rook e8. It's not that I got a whole lot more. h4, and now he plays bishop e5. Yeah.
Magnus, a question for you. How did you estimate this game, and how did you estimate this endgame after changing the queens?
I was a little bit too optimistic at first, I have to say. I thought that after bishop g7, queen c1, it would be immediately fine for black, and I somewhat underestimated knight g5. I believed I would always have good resources there, but after knight g5, it's I didn't find it easy at all, and yeah, with the two bishops, he does have some pressure, but whether it's enough to gain something substantial, I know. But I was relieved when he gave me the e file, because then I think my problems are solved.
After knight g5, you were thinking for like 20 minutes. What other options you were checking at this point?
Okay, it's a kind of a non-standard position, so there aren't that many clear guidelines. Basically any bishop move, and also knight b4.
How did you come to conclusion to play today Grunfeld again, considering that in the game 1 you had problems with black in this variation?
Well, he played something else. So, yeah.
And what can we say about this theoretical battle? Who won this battle, actually?
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. But I can. But yeah, it has to be checked further. But it's a very interesting line. This one, always chances for both sides.
Now we have questions to players. Until you get the microphone, there was also an interesting option for white to win an exchange after bishop b5. There was a moment, I don't remember, I think after instead of knight e4. Did you consider it?
Yeah, but I was not very impressed. I thought that black is doing fine with.
There's 2 games left. How do you intend to strike back at Magnus?
Well, you just have to keep trying. Today was a very intense game, very interesting, but he defended well. So we'll see.
Other questions? Okay, microphone, please.
A question for Magnus. You said you've been in these high-pressure situations before, and I think the last press conference you were talking about, you never really know how your nerves are going to hold up. Just curious, you knew you were going to be pressured today. How did your nerves hold up today?
I thought my nerves were okay. I don't know about the quality of the play, but the nerves were fine.
Yeah, actually, considering the fact that the pressure is so high, do you still kind of manage to enjoy the game? Can you manage to enjoy playing? Or it's all about result now?
It's harder, but today it's definitely a very interesting position to delve into, and as a chess player, you like that.
That's true. What can you say about this?
Yes, I mean, obviously you think a lot about the score, but today was an interesting game. I think I'll go and check what happened.
Magnus, given the match situation, why did you choose an aggressive opening today, and did you feel you have good control?
Well, I didn't necessarily feel that I had control, but well, he's a very good player. He's very well prepared, and it's not all that easy to just defend either. So.
And Mr. Anand, if the last game decides the match, do you think you have a psychological advantage during your experience?
Well, first we'll deal with the game tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. But I mean, these things we can keep yapping on forever, but I don't know. We'll just play and see what happens.
Magnus, when your position is kind of bad in this game, how much do you think about the World Championship title that is at stake?
Nothing.
And Mr. Anand, how do you evaluate your chances now to become World Champion again?
I know I'll have to play, that's all. Well, we know the score, we know the situation, but I'm still there.
Magnus, this seems to be going down to the wire. Could you try to describe the pressure that comes with playing the two last matches in such an important match?
Yeah, it's a high pressure situation, but it's more favorable to be up. Now we're playing a mini match of 2 games where I have draw odds, so that's it's not the worst situation to be in.
A question for Magnus. Grandmaster Simon Agdestein talked about Gary Kasparov might be behind your opening today. What do you have to say to him?
Well, we certainly looked at the Grunfeld when we were training back in 2009, 2010.
Other questions today?
Again, for Magnus, when you were choosing your opening today, were you giving any thought to trying to put the match away today with a win?
Yeah, to some extent. I haven't gotten too many interesting positions with black. Some of them have been worse, and some of them have just been kind of boring. But I mean, it's also up to him, I guess, if he. But we had a good fight today, at least.
A question to Mr. Anand. We know that chess players have been experimenting with different types of both exercising and clearing their mind. I'm curious, did you ever try yoga yourself?
Sure. Well, in India it's very common, as you can imagine, and I've tried yoga various times. Sure.
Does it work for you for performing by the chessboard?
Sure, sometimes.
And then a question to Magnus. Did you ever try if you could do Bird of Paradise?
No.
Will you try it?
Probably not with media there.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions today? more questions. Thank you very much for attending this press conference.
What is it, a cocktail? What is it, a cocktail? No, it's in the...